been EAA Oshkosh Airventure 2019. And now we are standing in front of a commercial B-25 Mitchell. Twin engine bomber used in World War II. This particular airframe has been converted to a PBJ, which is what the Navy used, instead of having the bombardier up here with glass.
Can you fly this?
Hey man, I want a blue one. What size? Switches. Let me come up here. Great time for all. Every guy last went down. And I fly my partner flies me through that up. It's like, let's try every color, every size. Okay, make a pile on full.
Let's see what you got on right now. They took off that curtain. This one's a light.
Yeah, they just went headwind. They dropped out of sight.
Oh yeah. There's a 25.
There's even guns on the side.
to be a feature airplane for their EAA mag.
You look comfy. So is that what you call an airplane hangar?
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Those is on the static on inside.
Really?
It's a well-traveled hammer.
It is.
We got team access, team outlet. I like that.
Yeah, we took that with us to Normandy and sitting in mostly in Germany when we were sitting in Wiesbaden or Fassberg. We were on display, so we take those out and start playing.
Really?
Playing cornhole
with real Germans, and they're
Oh, yeah,
they're
yeah,
proud of
real
that.
Germans. Well,
Okay.
We didn't know how to play, but we
Yeah, they
we
love
teach
they
them.
love watching. It was actually surprising how excited
That's cool.
they were getting.
So you participated in that 75th anniversary of the D-Day Normandy landing?
Yep.
Okay.
Crystal, myself, Eric, who's wandering around here, we flew over with the airplane and with a few other people. Tia came over and helped us with everything over there, and yeah, we had the opportunity to do that. That's actually how we got the airplane flying again after it sat for 18 years.
Wow. So how long does it take to get to France?
Well, from Oxford, Connecticut to Duxford, England, I think we were a little under 20 hours.
Okay.
We left from Missoula, so we had 15 hours getting to the East Coast. So we were 47 hours total flight time getting all the way around into Duxford.
Yeah. So you go from where? Connecticut to Canada somewhere?
Oh
and
yeah,
then-
Connecticut. We actually stopped in Presque Isle, Maine. Cheers to Presque Isle and their hospitality and their whoopie pies and fiddleheads.
Yeah.
And then we went up to Goose Bay, and from Goose Bay, we ended up going up to Frobisher Bay and then across through Sonderstrom, Greenland, and then Iceland, and then
Yeah.
down.
Okay. So altogether, that's how many hours again?
We were like 47 hours
47,
from Missoula
Yeah.
all the way to Duxford.
And this thing burns what, about 100 gallons an hour?
110 is what we've been trending.
Yeah. So
And
lots of-
and gas in Greenland is not cheap.
really.
It is not cheap. Yeah, I think like $12 a gallon for gas up there.
Is it just because it's
Yeah,
it's
all
rare?
shipped
It's kind of
in
a lot
and
of ice and it's not
Yeah.
a habited place, right? Is it like Alaska kind of Greenland? Or?
it's less inhabited than Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
okay.
think Sonderstrom they're like 250 or 300 people, mostly scientific, and then Sarasok they're like 110 people.
Yeah.
So
And I mean, can you carry extra fuel barrels on board if you wanted to?
yeah, we actually had to do that
Okay.
coming back out of Frobisher Bay. We had to throw a couple barrels on board just in case we had to stop somewhere.
Yeah.
Depending on winds and everything else, there's not much for options around the middle of North Canada.
Okay. Yeah, you figure these planes were designed to carry what, 30 people?
Roughly, 28 or something, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. They also had ferry tank options, which we ended up not doing just because of our time frame.
And then was this always a DC3 or was it was it a military transport converted to a
It's a
airliner?
It was built as a C-47.
Okay.
And that's you see that with the cargo door that's on the back there.
Yeah.
It was produced for the Army Air Corps, and then was sold off as surplus after World War II. And then the difference between a C-47 that was born as a C-47 and DC-3 is basically paperwork. It just ends up with a civilian type certificate as a DC-3, even though it was built as a C-47.
Okay. Is the door a little different though than the C-47?
Yeah. If you can see, we got the cargo door and the jump door, and if you go over to Legends, they've got just the air stair.
Okay.
That's a different. That was produced as a DC-3 versus as a C-47.
It's $5 to go inside?
Yeah.
Okay. You go off
We
that.
had a $5 donation. We didn't get any money to come here, so
Yeah, it's here. I don't get any money to volunteer here, but it's fun, so. Alright. I don't have many hands. You think someone can give me a change for it?
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, of course, so the thing about that is that
There you go, too.
basically, of course, the damage is not the only part, but a lot of those places,
chance I can get you to talk about the inside of the plane, like the cockpit maybe? Okay, that'd be great, yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, if you want to go up and start looking around, see if you whatever.
so it
works
never
for you.
had, passenger airline seats fixed to it then? It was always just the
Well,
military
for,
benches?
For its purposes through with Johnson Flying Service,
Yeah.
it did end up on a 121 certificate, so it did have passenger capacity, passenger seats in it.
Yeah.
And actually in 1954, it was flying from New York to Seattle carrying soldiers that were on leave.
Okay.
And they ran out of fuel near Pittsburgh and ended up landing in the Monongahela River.
Huh.
And the airplane kind of sank in the river a little bit of damage to the wingtips, and then they hoisted it out, damaged it a little bit more, and then it was repaired and put back in service after that. But a lot of its life was spent as a cargo and jump configuration. It was used for smoke jumping. It was used for smoke jumpers, and actually in 1949, this airplane carried the smoke jumpers, the first smoke jumpers to perish on a fire.
What's a smoke jumper? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Smoke jumper is a forest firefighter that jumps out of airplanes. So they go in with their jump gear and some tools, and then they para-cargo the rest of their tools to them. And they, especially historically, when there was a fire out a distance from any roads, they just fly them in, they'd para-drop them in there, and then they have to fight the fire and then hike out.
Gotcha.
And but yeah, this airplane carried the jumpers, the first ones that actually perished on a fire.
Yeah.
And that anniversary, the 70th anniversary, that's coming up August 5th.
Really?
So after we get done here, we're going to go back home, and then we'll be in Missoula or Helena and do some flight operations to honor their memory.
Okay. What year was this airplane built?
44, May 5th of 44.
And were they building these after the war too, or did they?
Yep.
They were.
Yeah, they were produced until 50 or 51, I think.
Okay. Have you ever seen a Basler conversion?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen one of those here. I want to see one. So.
Well, what was this taxiing around over here? That
Was it
gray
really?
one. That gray one that's right over there.
The green one?
Gray. Yeah, it's on the far
Oh,
side of the
way
ramp.
back
You see
there.
the gray one? Yeah, they were just taxied up into this part of the ramp.
Oh man, I want to see that. So what's the benefit of that? Do you know? Is it just basically a quieter operation?
More reliable. They extend the fuselage ahead of the wing and behind the wing, so it's got more capacity.
Yeah, I think
more,
they changed the nose and make
more
it more
power.
aerodynamic.
Not a whole lot.
No.
The nacelles actually are definitely
Yeah.
more aerodynamic, but the main difference is the reliability of the engines.
Okay.
It's a little more power, but it's just radial engines. They're great for what they are when they're produced, the amount of power they produced, and all that. But you can't compete with a turbine for
Well, it's
reliability.
burning oil though, and that's 1940s technology. I guess
Yeah.
the turbine in there is 1960s technology.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
it's a little newer.
A little bit.
Yeah.
One step newer, but
Yeah. How much oil do these engines burn? Or
ours do
how
really
much do you
well.
go through?
We're about a half gallon an hour per engine. A little under that.
So you have to top it off every time you fly, pretty much. then.
No, you can go. Yeah, I mean, at our burn rates, you can go a long
Okay,
time
so
because
it's got a big reserve in it then, huh?
you've got 25 gallons is what we take off at usually, and you're safe to run it down quite a ways. You run to 15 gallons without any problem, but you don't want to get a whole lot lower than that just for cooling.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah, I seen one of those Basslers on the internet, and it had skis on it, and it
Yep.
was designed to land in Iceland
Going
or
down to
Arctic or
Antarctica,
something like
yeah.
that, and I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I mean the DC3 actually was built. The C47 was built for a ski setup. You can go to the manual and it shows skis on them. So, Basler putting skis on it's not necessarily a new thing, but the ability and the reliability and safety factor that provides is
that's something I was not
Pretty
aware
good.
of. So,
Yeah.
okay. Tell me about these people on the.
Well, the list
Back
of
of
major
the tail
donors
here.
there. That's the group that originally purchased the airplane for the museum.
Okay.
It's owned by the Museum of Mountain Flying. And so that group of people are the ones that got money together in order to buy the airplane and bring it back to Missoula,
right.
where it spent the bulk of its life. The other sponsors are up on the vertical and down into the tail. Those are all ones that donated substantial amounts of money to help us get the airplane airworthy again after it's out of the museum for 18 years not
Right.
flying.
Okay.
So yeah, all had a huge contribution in the funds we needed to make the airplane safe to make the trip across the pond twice.
Yeah. Well, what are the main things you have to do to the aircraft when you're refurbishing it?
The engines came off. They went out to an overhaul shop and were gone through. We had on the number one, it needed a new crankshaft and it needed some new engine cases, resealed and everything on both engines. Hydraulics went through everything, all the flex lines, replaced everything with new stuff. Cleaning and inspecting is a huge part of some airplane that's been sitting this long. Especially one that you weren't involved with working on before it sat. So just trying to get everything down to a basic level where you can do the inspections and everything is a huge amount of the time involved. And outside that is just inspecting and repairing anything that you happen to find. Avionics was a big source, a big part of our upgrades. The airplane had basically 1979 radio technology that would have been used for a charter operation, so it was a lot of good stuff, especially for its time, but it's nowhere near what we have today. So we stripped out probably close to 200 pounds of everything and replaced it all with some more modern stuff. A couple of GPSs that are not brand new, but they're Garmin 430 and Garmin 530 that are new technology and works well, and paired that with some Garmin G5s for our attitude indicators and HSIs. So it made the airplane very, very good for what we needed to do going on the trip, and had to get into some IFR a few times, and it made it much more comfortable to do.
Now, who makes the radials that are in there? Which company was that again?
The engines are Pratt & Whitney. The DC3 and the C47s had a couple of options. Curtiss Wright has an engine that can be used on the airplane as well, but ours are the Pratt & Whitneys.
So it's a 9-cylinder?
It's 2 rows of 7, 14.
2 rows of 7, okay.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, are they still inside there? Oh, where'd the donation bin go? Okay, there it is.
He's still up there taking a few pictures.
Thank you.
Alright. You betcha.
That's quite a setup.
This is
Yeah,
Eric.
indeed. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Eric's
What do you do on the airplane?
The mastermind behind everything.
I clean the toilets and
His arms are too short to clean the windows, but
can't clean the windows. No, sometimes they let me fly it and work on it a little bit, and mostly, help with the fundraising and financing of the project and
Okay,
logistics.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
All right. So I see, is this the jump line right here
Yeah,
then? For a
that's the
parachute?
static.
Yep.
And that's what's been so successful about this project is every one of us is either is a pilot, a mechanic, a ground crew. Help with the shirts and the hat sales, and go out and seek financing for the project. So any one of us can do a multiple role of jobs. So that's, I think, why we are so successful at keeping this thing flying.
Okay. So is this floor been replaced here? It looks like I see two different colors here.
That just got painted, but
just got painted.
this is the heavy-duty cargo floor.
Yeah.
So you can drive Jeeps up in here, or you can put.
Yeah.
In the case of the Forest Service use that this got was little like a D2 dozer.
Yeah. How do you get a Jeep in here? Through the side?
Yeah, open up the cargo door and then just
And it
ramp
goes
it up.
inside
In.
of it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they drive it up at an angle and then just turn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know there's 747s that work the same way, for transport stuff. No.
Yep.
All right. What do we got back here? Not a whole lot. Huh?
Not a whole lot,
What's
just the back of the airplane.
Is there a head in here? Or
Well, we got a bucket,
call it?
5-gallon bucket with a
5-gallon
seat that
bucket.
clips on it.
Yeah. Lavatory. That's the preparatory. Okay.
The airplane did have a lavatory through different parts of its life, but unnecessary for what its life is now.
And then what is this right here? Is this just
It's all
padding, so you don't hit
it's all
your head on
fabric.
it, or-
Yeah, it's we got insulation behind it. This is just quilted like that for appearance, but
Yeah.
we replaced all the. It had a almost a cargo liner interior in it previously, but we stripped all that out for the inspection and didn't want to go back in with it. So this is all burn-serted fabric and burn-serted foam from a place in the Midwest that we did.
And does it make it a little quieter then?
That's a lot quieter.
A lot
yeah.
quieter with that, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got sound-deadening foam in areas where we replaced the insulation, and then from there up is all the original wool insulation that the airplane would have had.
All right. Well, let's keep moving here. So you were saying the benches. That's the original configuration that they had in World War II. Then.
It would have been the same style.
Yep. Style. Yeah.
Yeah, the original ones would have been aluminum, but these are fiberglass.
Oh, okay. A little lighter.
Yeah, just easier to make.
Yeah. Okay.
Stamping out aluminum parts is not something that is real easy to do.
Gotcha. This is your poster from your trip to Normandy, huh?
Yeah, what we were trying to do, that was made before we actually made the trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a matter of trying to tell everybody what we were doing and why we needed everybody's money.
Yeah. How many planes went on this journey again?
There were 15 airplanes from the U.S., 15. They came from the U.S. And then we met up with a number of others from around Europe. And ended up, for the day that we did the parachute drops on June 5th, ended up with 11 jump airplanes and then another 10 airplanes that were not jump capable, so they flew in formation behind us.
Okay. I heard there were some actual World War II veterans that jumped out of these too.
There was a couple, yeah. We didn't have any, I don't think, in our D-Day squadron drop, but there was an airplane that dropped a 97-year-old guy tandem.
Yeah. And I know George H.W. Bush did something like that for his 90th birthday just a few years ago before he passed.
Did a drop every year, I think.
Every year? Wow, good for him.
Hello. Oh, I'm okay. Yeah, thank you.
And was this in use with the airline, or was it just charters, or
It was an airline operation. Yeah, they ended up doing. Mostly it was 135, on-demand kind of charter service, contracts with the Forest Service, but it also ended up going into some 121 operations when he got later into his operation.
Here we have some World War II veterans. I see their plaques.
Yep. So when we were getting ready to do the airplane, or working through getting the airplane restored, we realized that we thought we had a full set of seats out in the shed at the museum, and we only found one that was pretty dilapidated, so we actually had to go out and buy these. And it was an expense that we hadn't planned on, so in order to finance the $15,000 for that, we gave everybody an opportunity to adopt a seat or pay for a seat and put a plaque with their name or their family name, whatever they wanted, with each one.
Man, it must have stunk being a stewardess on these tail dragger planes where you're constantly walking uphill and downhill, So.
Once you get into flight, it levels out, but
once you get into flight, I was
yeah. Unfortunately, not pushing the cart up and down the
yeah, that would not be fun. So there's two first class seats here, huh? What's up with this?
Those are just there for once you get into flight. They're not attached, so we just got them there as something that's a little more comfortable when you're in flight.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not for takeoff or landing.
Gotcha.
But that's the style seat that would have been attached into the floor originally.
Really?
With our jump seats, we didn't have space to put it back here where it needs to be. So.
Yeah. Okay. What's this little window up here for?
Originally, there would have been a bulkhead here, and a radio operator would have been here, and a navigator would have been in somewhere in one of the areas here. So, just for some visibility.
Okay.
A lot of the airplanes, if you look at Placid Lassie, you'll see a dome that's right here ahead of this bulkhead, and that's an astro dome where you can do celestial navigation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised that I knew that up until I went inside of a tanker plane a few years ago, KC-135, and it still had that celestial scope in it. And I was like, what on earth? Like, I thought Christopher Columbus navigated by the stars. I didn't think we do that, in the 20th century.
Yeah, still a little bit.
Alright. Up there. Yeah, so tell me about this cockpit then.
Well, we stripped everything out right here. There's a rack of what used to be the radios behind the curtain here.
Oh, okay.
There's a rack of all the receiver transmitters and everything else that was involved with 1979 airline operations.
Yeah.
All that got taken out. The paneler got simplified. All the instruments got pulled out, calibrated, and all the markings refreshed. And then we put in the G5s for attitude indicator and horizontal situation indicator. And
G5 is what now?
the displays on
the
displays on the
LCDs
side.
there?
Yep.
Okay.
And
And that tells you the weather? Is it GPS or?
attitude indicator and heading, and it's tied into the GPSs for navigational sources. So you can do a whole variety of navigational uses with them.
Yeah. These seats look pretty comfy. They got the padding on them.
Yep. Yeah, just had those redone for the trip.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd imagine your butt would get pretty tired sitting here.
Yeah, 6 hours in the seats, not too bad on these, but yeah, there's if it definitely would have been shorter legs.
Windshield de-icer, man, I didn't know they had that stuff.
Yeah, it's all
Back in
alcohol
the day.
de-ice on these. There
Yeah.
are options to put electric with heating windows in them, but if you want to stay with the original windows,
Yeah.
here with the two pieces on.
Okay. And it's just straight alcohol you use? It's not antifreeze?
Nope, just alcohol.
Okay.
That's for the engine, props, and
Are you a pilot then?
I am pilot engine.
Okay. So normally you have what, a pilot and a co-pilot up here, and then who would sit in this chair here?
Yeah, it varies. Depends on whose leg it is. You know, it's if I'm not flying, I'm usually sitting in that seat.
Yeah. And but this person doesn't have a job though, right? They're just.
Whether they're to smack whoever's flying in the head when they
Oh,
just
yeah?
hit the rung.
Okay. No, I know on some of the planes they had, you know, the navigator,
Yeah.
but I guess you don't really need that third person anymore.
No, and
Now
well,
that
this
we have
airplane was
electronics.
designed around. You know, originally would have had a radio operator and stuff too for as a C-47, but the airplane certified as technically it can be a single pilot airplane.
Really?
But you know, depending on the configuration, some of the controls, there's a lot of different variations. But
Yeah.
some of the stuff can be pretty tough to reach as a single pilot.
I heard it's there's not a lot of people that are flying big tail draggers anymore, so it's
Well, there's not a whole lot
there's
of-
kind of a demand for pilots like that.
Well, as far as not really a paying demand, but
Yeah.
there's it's a fairly rare type of airplane to operate. Like I say, large tail draggers, they haven't produced since 1950 probably
Right.
in any kind of quantity. So, yeah, it's a different type of flying, but.
So what do these three levers do here?
So the bottom one, the longer one, that's a hydraulic hand pump. So if your engine pumps fail and you still have some fluid, you can pump it up. Or if you're sitting on the ground like right now and you want to move your flaps or pressurize the brakes, you can use that to pump up system pressure.
Okay.
The one above that is one of the two gear handles that you have to use in order to get the gear to come up.
Yeah.
And the one above that is the flaps. So
Okay.
you control it. There's no pre-selected flap position. You just kind of move it into the down or the up position and watch the gauge until it gets to where you want it.
Is there like a window or a scope where you could see to make sure the gear's going down?
You can look out the window and
Look
see
out
it.
the window and see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you see that's down, and then you've got lights up on the panel for your two green lights.
Okay. What are these two things on the side here? They look like smoke grenades. I don't know what they're.
Those are for operating cow flaps. So the engines have cow flaps that help regulate engine temperature, and cylinder head temperature.
Oh.
And they're hydraulically operated, so you use those to control those.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm not a pilot, so all this stuff is.
Yeah. Well, that's a fairly rare method of controlling the cow flaps.
Yeah. And these planes always had a yoke as a steering mechanism, right? They never had
Yeah,
sticks.
not-
Okay. Okay, cool. That's all the questions I could think of. So. All right. Well, thank you very much for the tour, sir.
Yeah, happy to.
Uh-huh.
I currently live in Mississippi, but
Who do you fly for?
the Air Force.
Okay, good. Can I help with anything?
I think I got it.
All right,
This rope
sir.
helps a lot.
Yeah, it does. It helps
Yeah.
a whole bunch. Time to retire yet?
Very shortly. Just coming up on it. I'll be retired by this time, or I'll be done by this time. So my next stop is the other airplane.
How are you?
Hey, pretty good.
That's a picture of you.
I just went for a tour of the airplane. I want to see
Did
what
ya?
kind of gifts you could buy to support the aircraft too.
Thank you.
We got what? License plate frames.
Yeah, we got t-shirts,
T-shirts.
we got a book, stickers, beer mugs or soda mugs, depending on what you like to drink.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all sorts of fun stuff.
All sorts of fun stuff.
Nice setup you have.
Thank you. It's addiction that costs a lot of money. Always buying new camera gear.
Well, but think about it, the days when you would have had to have like a 900-pound camera on your shoulder.
I know, yeah.
The same.
Yeah, this thing weighs about 8 or 9 pounds, but really hurts your back. I gotta wear like a back brace to
Do ya?
help keep myself upright.
missiles loaded?
Not yet. Let me let the canopy down on its resting point and get out of here. Probably the same jump over there, jump over there. I told that one guy, do you have a flashlight? My cell phone. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm walking around out here, it's getting better and better all the time.
Sir, I need to mix the cement, please.
And we can't win. We just got swept from over there.
Fixing the landing gear?
Yeah, just a little barn wire, it'll be fine.
Okay, there you go. Zip tie.
She'll hold.
Yeah, that's good right there. It's on that greaser. Are they putting it in here?
Check out the message. High overhead. In a perfect sky, in a perfect opening day, in the perfect place in the world where everyone wants to be is July. Oshkosh. Grassroots aviation at its finest. This is our 30th year at this location. That should be Dave Hammond up there with the ghost writer. For messages in the sky, lost art. And you know what he's going to do next. He's going to put the hook or connection in those two A's. Real talent. You actually have to fly that pattern or that message backwards in your mind and in your flight as compared to the way you and I see it looking up at the message.
Danny, as you mentioned, this is almost a lost art. There are very few people who can do what he's doing in the sky right now. And we are so honored to have him here, as well as all of the performers who are going to take to the sky this afternoon. We've got a great day scheduled starting in just a few moments with the air show. But right now, we want to take you back to 1970, the very first EAA fly-in that was held here in Oshkosh. And the decade of the 70s I remember the 70s. How about you?
I was just a little kid, but yeah, they were fun. But the guys who went through the 60s, man, they're pretty rough guys.
Well, that's the thing I've been reading about. In 1970, the 60s were over, so music was still, you know, a lot of sort of acid rock and things like that. But it evolved through the decade and ended up with disco and eventually new wave. But it was one decade and quite an auspicious opener for EAA in 1970.
Well, let's take you back in time to just what was going on.
That's right. You know, I dug up some information from the archives. Paul Poveresny, our founder, sent out we call it a newsletter today. He called it a brochure, telling people where the hotels were in Oshkosh, Appleton, and Fond du Lac, and the campgrounds. And one of the lines in his editorial said, we need to work our way and build our reputation in this community so that we'll be welcome for many years to come. And I think, thanks to the EAA family, we're still welcome here in Oshkosh.
We have made a lot of friends, and Paul was right. It was their community. And EAA was on the move. It had made several moves, and we were the new kid on the block. And you got to behave.
That's right.
You got to have all your friends behave. And I guess we behaved pretty well. It was fun. Great.
And we want to thank all of those in Oshkosh because it's pretty efficient for Oshkosh residents today. And there were about 8,000 tickets that were claimed by Oshkosh residents. They're all here today, so for the EAA family, especially for everyone who has traveled to be here, let's give a warm EAA welcome to all of our Oshkosh visitors who are here today. Thank you for keeping us in your community for the past 50 years. Do you remember in 1970, the program Marcus Wilson, MP, a medical drama that was released?
And his nurse was Consuela.
Yes.
That was a cool thing to be back then.